Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kirusho here, and now, before we do start, let us give a brief little review. In the last part, a number of events have happened. Now, we had Deku, Ochako, and Tokage. These three, they were in the city. It's been 3 months since winter has started, and things have gotten really bad. Currently, the city is covered in snow and ice. And these three, they have been inside the city trying to gather resources. Izuku and Tokage went out, and they went to a store further inside the city and found 3 bags worth of supplies. They were able to stuff their bags full of goods and get back to the base. Deku, he didn't want to head back out. One of the biggest threats right now is freezing to death in the cold. And Tokage, after they head back out a second time, they nearly had that happen. Tokage started to succumb to hypothermia. She didn't feel cold anymore. And Deku, he rushed her back to the base before her symptoms got any worse. They went out on their second supply run, and they dropped 6 bags worth of goods off in a dumpster, where they had to come home. Now, Tokage, she was a bit adamant, confused, and nauseous. However, after they got her out of her wet clothes, they got her into some fresh dry ones. They got her some hot water, and all of them huddled together in their sleeping bags to try and stay warm. She eventually passed out. However, her body heat did rise, and this was good. Right now she is starting to recover, and that is a very big problem. Deku had to restrain her a bit because of the way she was acting, but whenever she fell asleep, she was okay. At least that's right now what the three do believe. Or, well, the two do believe. Now, Ochako, Deku, and Tokage are currently asleep, and there actually is the next day. Izuku, he does wake up sometime later. Right now, him going to actually somewhat bring his hands up. Him going to try and scoot over and climb out of the sleeping bag. Him going to sit up and go to unzip his bag. Him climbing out and going to start stretch. As the other two, they do not begin to stir. However, they do both remain asleep. And Izuku, he'll go to look around. The room does feel cold. And Deku, he does at least breathe out some air. However, he does not see his breath. And that, it does tell him a bit of things. Currently, him walking over and bring his hand down onto the stove. Him going to turn it on as he's going to wait. Currently, him going to walk out of the room and turn, walking to the next room and trying to check on their clothes. And Deku, he finds that things are still a little wet. But he does a check on the shoes. His shoes are still somewhat dry, but on the outside, they're still wet. On the inside, however, dry. So that's good. I'm going to actually somewhat turn and begin to inspect Tokage's gear. Right now, her clothes show that they are wet, and the inside of her shoes, they're cold. And that does concern him. Currently, him looking around the room and going to see some of the wood they do have. He has the idea to start a fire. He has the idea to go upstairs and get one going for a few reasons. I mean, heat up their clothes and get them to properly dry. Yeah, they might be a bit ashy by the end of it, smoky, but hey, just pat them down and if they can, just deal with it. It doesn't really matter. By the time they head back out, they'd already stick out like a sore thumb in all of the white blanket of snow out there. So hey, it's not that big of a deal. Besides, as far as they're aware, there's not many zombies on the move. And Izuku, he does all walk out of the room, him heading downstairs and checking a few things. The bags are still there, and some of the stuff they do have has begun to thaw. There's moisture on the outside of the cans. And Deku, he is happy about that. His idea is to make something for breakfast. Make something good. Make something warm. Okay, so what can he make though? Let's see. Hmm. Him picking up a few of the cans and trying to investigate. And Deku, he does begin to do so. Currently, him going to find a few things, making his way back upstairs as he was head outside. Now, Deku walks up to the fourth floor, and after doing so, he does a step out onto the roof. Him looking around and checking a few things. The sun should be coming up soon. That's good. So let's see. There's still a lot of clouds, but okay, so the sun's either rising right now or it's gonna rise. It's still a little dark, but not too far off. I'm gonna look down, and currently staring down at the snow, wondering about a few things. If it snowed last night, then that does mean their tracks were covered. But there still are those supplies they hid in that dumpster. There's still a lot happening. And Deku, he does it a walk over. Currently, him going to bring his hands down and begin to brush into the area, trying to clear away some of the snow and checking to see if the fire, it could be started. They made one yesterday, and well, it was a good idea, but nothing's burning out in the city. So either that area the crazies live in isn't on fire, or they haven't started up their burns yet. Huh. The idea that they're not lighting everything up. It seems a bit weird in his mind. He got so used to it being, well, the smell in the air, I guess. Can't say that he does miss it. Currently, someone gonna walk outside, and Izuku, he would turn his head. We're now him seeing Tokage currently putting on a coat. Her trying to ask if he's okay. Hmm? I should be asking you that. You were a bit out of it yesterday. Huh? Right. Sorry. Sorry. I didn't mean to freak out or do what I did. You okay? I should be asking you that. You seemed a little off. I'm okay. Really, I'm fine. But what about the supplies? They're somewhere safe. But what do you remember? Not very much. It's still a bit confusing. But thanks for bringing me back. No worries. I'm not trying to lose another friend. Appreciate that. I'm sure you do. You would have done the same, right? Yeah, I would have. How's Ochako? She's okay. Though I'm thinking about heading out to gather those supplies. Run out there real quick and come back. Are you sure that that's a good idea? They're gonna look out, and staring up at the sky. Her gonna turn and look out as well. There's begun to become a bit of a pattern. I mean, if it gets windy, then it snows. But the wind's calm. The sky is okay. And currently she doesn't want to breathe out. Her seeing her breath and trying to talk about it. She remembers finding something in one of her searches. You know, something good? Hmm? What was it? Trust me, you'll know it whenever you see it. But, it does have me a bit curious. About? About where else we could search. If you and Ochako head out, I can stay here. Though, what about that thing we thought we saw yesterday? I don't know if it. I don't know what I saw, okay? I don't know if it was human, if it was an infected. It just, I thought I saw something moving. The car was rusty and burned, but it still had that silver color. I swore I saw something in front of it. It just, I felt like we were being stalked, watched. Things didn't feel right. I trust your judgment. Take a look up. Huracan Express. She trusts him a lot. There's no doubt about that. If they needed to, they could have got walked, but they didn't. Then again, they might have to go out there like that today. Him and Ochako. If that's the case, they should be well armed. Her gonna ask him if he's gonna take his slingshot. And Deku, he'll go to Express. It's a good option. Though it does worry him. Hmm? There's another place I want to check out. A few others. We checked an actual superstore, but we didn't check out everything about it. We didn't check to see what their tech was like. We didn't see what everything else was like. Plus, we got a radio back in. I'm gonna try and do that this morning. I'm gonna take a thermos with me and see what I can do. Radio in and let them know. Once we get those bags, we'll go back home. Probably spend some time there. Actually sleep in my own bed. Honestly, I'm a bit exhausted being here. It has been a little crazy. I'm gonna turn. And currently, here's a walk back inside. Her turning back. If we're gonna look back outside. He's hiding something. She can tell it too. Ochako isn't the only one who knows how to read his expression. And it does somewhat unnerve her a bit. Deku said something before, whenever they were drinking once. It seemed a little out there. But he talked about how he could see this guy, Tosha, something Toshi, right? Whoever this guy is, it's gotta be important. I mean, she's not sure about the whole thing. It sounds a little crazy. But if he's hallucinating or, you know, mentally breaking down a certain way, his mind not being completely healthy, she can understand that. I mean, no one's completely healthy anymore at this world. And currently she's at a turn, walking back inside and closing the door, since she is letting out the heat. And Deku, he currently does a get ready. Him walking to level 3 of the building and then beginning to get a few things. Currently grabbing his gun, his slingshot, and even his spear. And Deku, he does begin to head out. Currently, him going to actually grab one of the bags of supplies and grabbing a radio. And Ochako, she is already up. Her currently trying to make some coffee with the hot water. And Deku, he does a turn. Right now, her going to actually set down the carton of instant coffee, talking to Izuku. And Deku, he has to watch her turn and pour 2 cups of water for her Tokage. Her setting it back down and turning off the heat, before going to actually bring her hands up and try to warm them up, talking about it, asking him what he's doing. And whenever he would go to express it, Ochako doesn't understand. I mean, they brought back 3 bags, and the 6 in the alleyway makes it, what, 9? So take 1 back, and that would mean they have 8 left. Ochako and Izuku can carry 3. Tokage can carry 2. I mean, she's not doing so hot. She's probably sick. Still weakened by the experience yesterday. And that it doesn't worry Ochako. Her friend isn't doing well. And Deku, he would go to pour the coffee in his thermos and currently go to hold on to it. As he does, go to walk out of the building with his radio in hand. And currently Izuku, he doesn't move quickly. His footsteps crunching in the snow, as Ochako, she does try to get a few things prepared. Currently, her going to pull up a map of the city they have mapped out a bit. They already know the store they went to. They know the route to the alleyway. And if that's the same alleyway where Deku dropped off the supplies, she can start to head out. Bring things back while he is still out there. And it could be simple. And there currently is Deku. Deku, it does take him some time. He does get to head out, and he does get to pay attention. He tries to avoid areas where he thinks there could be activity. And it does take him about an hour, but after moving quickly through the snow, he does get to the outskirts of the city. Currently, him walking across a bridge and going to actually look around. Him looking down at the water which has frozen over. And Izuku, he doesn't stare on. Him with a few things in his head. And currently Deku, he does gonna turn back. Him gonna walk past a car which does look like a wreck. And it does not concern him. Him looking at it for a minute before gonna walk over and bring his hand up. Him bring his hand onto the engine block of the car. And it is not warm. It's cold. So it must have happened yesterday, before last night. The people could still be in the area. That's a concern. And Izuku, he would turn, continue to walk as he does, go to actually bring his hand up. Bring up his radio, and going to click on it twice. And that currently is back at the manor. Where Momo, she does just don't sit there. Her going to walk around and do a few things. And their actions with her radio, it isn't a beep. Her bring her hand down and grabbing onto it. Hello? Is something wrong? Hey, Mama. It's me. What happened? Are you guys okay? We're fine. We're fine. Listen, Tokage is a little sick. What happened? Did she freeze? Not necessarily. Listen. Yesterday, she and I were out a bit too long. She started to show signs, and we came back as fast as we could. Though, we're not too sure if we got her heated up fast enough. We're still trying to keep her inside. Though, I want to start heading back out and get all the bags back. Get all of them back? Yeah. Listen, I'm gonna hide a bag down by the water. It's gonna be under the bridge. It's gonna be simple to find. After that, I want someone to stay there. Meet us, okay? Tokage, I don't think can carry 2 bags. She can probably carry 1. I don't want to put strain on her. She's not okay. Ochako is fine right now, but I'm still doing fine. Deku could actually turn. Him bring up his thermos and opening it up. And he does allow the heat to run onto his face. Him still talking. Right now, they have 9 bags of supplies. Momo a lot more alarmed. And she just won't sit there for a second. Did you say 9? Yeah. It's amazing, right? That's insane. How big? Trust me. There's some pretty hefty ones. There's 2 of the really big bags. You know, like the big bags. Yeah, it's basically carrying a trash can on your back. Are you serious? Oh yeah, we made sure to stuff that thing pretty damn well. Honestly, it hurt my back a bit yesterday carrying it. That's insane. Oh yeah, trust me. The big old duffel bag is chocked full of stuff. And then we got two more. It's a bit more of a heavy load, but that's why I won't help. Okay, so I'll I'll talk to somebody. Maybe see if I can head out. Maybe even see if Totoro can go. But did you guys find any medicine or anything? No. Actually, I was gonna try and head out today and find some. See what I can do. If I could head to a place, a store nearby. Maybe go back to the store and actually just check in that section. You know? Okay. Fine. So, when do you want us to go out there and meet you then? I don't know. Listen, if you're here at the bridge, you should be able to radio in to us in the city. If you can't, that probably means that there's a storm coming. And let's just say, oh God, let's just say this. If I don't, if you come to get the bag, radio in. If you can, head a bit into the city, and if the wind starts to pick up, tell us. Or just do what you can. Just try to get into contact. If you need to, come in and come as far as you can. I'll assume if you haven't raided back in like 4 or 5 hours, you can't get in contact with us. We'll just shelter in place because the storm's coming. Right. Anything else? Not really, no. Listen, that should be about it. Currently, Deku bringing his hand up, pulling the bag off of his back and setting it down. Without him hearing it clatter a bit, and letting out a bit of a small echo. And Izuku, he'll get a turn walking out from underneath the bridge. Currently, him heading back up, as he does, Chris won't stand there. Looking out at the countryside. It's the same thing. It's covered in snow. But to a lesser extent. And it's kind of surprising. Deku turning his head, a bit confused for a second. We're him going to see All Might. And All Might, he does stand there as the visage of fire. And he does a stare at Deku. Before he would turn, and he's going to point back at the city. And Deku, he does a stare on. All Might expressing, help. And Deku, he does a stare on. Currently, him reading back in. He's heading back in. So, come pick it up and try to radio in if possible. Or come to the shelter. One of the two. But remember, Ochakos does have that blunderbuss. Him setting his shooter back down, as currently Momo, she would have tried to deliver some of the good news. Since there's food waiting for them under a bridge. Izuku, he does get a leave. Currently, him heading back to the base, trying to be careful and even seeing a few other groups of people active and about. And Deku, he does make a mental note of the areas they're heading to. He sees the directions they're moving in. They're heading into the city, and a bit further away from where his area is, the place he just left. So, that does mean quite a bit. Right now, him going to get back to the actual facility, or hideout, I guess I should really say. Now, Deku, he would knock on the door, and after Tokage would let him in, she's gonna sit down the blunderbuss. Right now, Deku, turning to her, as is to take off the heavy coat, trying to ask her about where exactly Ochako is. And Tokage, she does try to express that Ochako is out. she came back earlier and dropped off two of the bags. And that, it does mean quite a bit. Currently her turning and pointing to the bags that are right behind her. And Deku, here's a stare on. Those are two of the larger bags. Okay. Not the biggest one, or the smallest. Oh, crap. But her carrying all that. Okay, so how long ago did she leave? She left 40 minutes ago. I think, maybe, but I'm not sure. I've been trying to keep track, but it's been a little surprising, I guess. I'm gonna turn, walking back over and grabbing onto his jacket, shaking it off, almost trying to stomp off the snow on his shoes. Him turning to her, talking about it. If Ochako does come back, beep his radio once, and let him know. Since Deku, he is concerned. He doesn't tell her. He's moving over to Channel 3. Get off of Channel 2. Make sure that things are simple there. They don't want to surprise Ochako or get her, quote unquote, caught by any of the things that were out there. They still don't know what they're dealing with. Winter could have produced something to survive. These things like to adapt. They're resilient. And Tokage, she would have nod her head. Currently, her, gonna turn and close everything up. Deku heading back out a little quickly. And Deku, he would gonna move fast. Right now him trying to follow the prints that Ochako does have. But there is a bit of an issue. It begins to pick up on wind. And Deku, he's worried about that. Right now him going to get on top of a building. Him climbing with the fire escape and getting ready. Now, Deku, he doesn't make it onto the rooftops. Right now him heading from building to building fast. And Deku, he does begin to actually hear All Might. Him turning and pointing out. And Deku is to see All Might pointing out to the heart of the city. Him running past as he does try to ignore it, trying to disregard it. And currently Deku, he has to at least go faster and faster. Right now him going to actually jump the gap that is there. Him smashing down and trying to at least make sure he doesn't slip. Him stumbling a bit and moving forwards. Him picking up his pace and continuing to run. And Izuku, he does go to make his way down. Currently, him sliding down a fire escape and getting things ready. Now, Deku, he doesn't move down the 5-story building. Him going to look around and walk down the road, make his way into another alleyway and doing a bit of a similar process. Right now, him moving over and over and over again, getting closer and closer to the heart of the city. However, he still is a bit more on the outskirts of that. If he does head inside the heart of the city, things could be very bad. Right now he's taking a bit of a shortcut. Okay. He's gotta move fast, The route's a little unsafe, but okay. Currently him standing there on a rooftop. And All Might, he would have point out. Him holding his hand up, as Deku, he would have turned to All Might. However, he doesn't freeze. Toshi, I don't... What is that? Deku hearing it in his ears. It sounds like a heartbeat. Him turning his head and looking out to the buildings. Right now him feeling the wind pick up more and snow beginning to fall. But Deku, he has to watch on. Currently the buildings, they all do stand there. Some have fallen over. But of all the large, massive buildings, and I mean massive in the city, there's office buildings towering above. There's something that it doesn't look right out there. And All Might, he is beginning to fly forwards. Around him disappearing in the flames. And Deku, he has a turn fully facing the heart of the city. staring out. He's 6 stories up. He's able to see a few office buildings, a few hero agencies, and no, wait. There, there used to be a building there, but it got knocked over. So, what the fuck is that thing out there? I'm gonna stare on, and Deku is a stare at something massive. It's it's a red dot. It looks like a red line, I guess. But if that's the case, then whatever that is, it's, oh my god, it's massive. Now, Deku is a stare on, and right as it feels something strange. He feels like something just gonna shoot through his entire body, his entire being, and it just unnerves him. He feels an evil, an unknown evil, it just circulating through him. And Deku, he doesn't want to stare on. We're now him beginning to have things space out, the world whipping around him. And Deku, he does begin to move backwards. Currently, him feeling his vision go hazy, and blood pour from his nose. As Deku, he does this won't turn. We're now him falling to the ground a bit confused, unsure as to what the hell is going on. But he does begin to hear some voices. He begins to hear more people. And this, it does alarm him. Currently, Izuku bringing his hand up to his head and trying to just shake this off. And whenever everyone does get to go silent, he'll get a turn. Him climbing back to his feet as he doesn't move. And there currently is Ochako. Ochako, she headed back. And she got to the alleyway. She opened the dumpster and found the other bags. And this was intriguing, as currently she's going to pull 2 of them out. Her pulling out 2 of the smaller bags and just thinking about it. Okay. So, no. If she takes these 2 small bags, then she'll have to carry some heavier stuff. But I mean, these aren't that bad. Though she got the biggest ones out of the way. Her gonna turn back to the dumpster, bring her hand down, and trying to pull this one out. And it is heavier. And Ochako is a little tired. However, she is successful in getting it out. Currently, it gonna clatter to the ground as something. It heard that. And Ochako, she doesn't wait. Her actually gonna turn and climb into the dumpster, bring her head up, and gonna actually slowly close the lid. As there is a creature, it would have come by. Currently, it going to walk past and turn its head. It gonna sniff out for anything, anyone. And currently, it is gonna find nobody. Though the scent in the air, it does gonna bite its senses. It's cold. And it's strange. But it does smell blood. It smells something fresh. And currently the creature, it does go to turn. It going to try and focus. And it does quickly move. Now it trying to remain warm in the environment. It's getting cold. Its muscles are starting to go stiff. And this does mean quite a bit. It should head back. It knows it should. But it's hunger. It's craving for blood. The urges it has. It wants to fulfill them. It doesn't want to listen. It's hungry. And it wants to feed. And Ochako, she just wants to slowly open the lid and look back out. As she does, climb her way out and turn. Bring up 2 of the smaller bags and putting them back into the dumpster. And there currently is Deku, who he does gonna run over and currently look down, bring his hand up as Ochako would turn. her looking to see Deku as Deku looks a little strange. And currently Izuku, he would have looked down. We know him waving his hand and trying to tell Ochako to move away, as the creature is going to walk its way into the alley. Currently, it's going to turn and see Ochako. And Deku, he has to do one thing. The moment he has to see it, he is immediately going to turn, bring his hand down with a gun and firing at it. And currently the creature, it is shot directly into the back. We know it's screaming out as Ochako would turn, seeing the creature and bring up her hand. Right now her going to actually bring it up and blast it with her gun. And the thing is just don't stand there. It being shot in the shoulder as it does scream out. Currently it's gonna rush forwards to try and attack Ochako. Right now it getting its teeth directly into her shoulder and into her clothes. But we're gonna actually pounce her into the ground. And Deku, he needs to scream out for it to get off of her. And this thing, it does gonna turn to Deku. It's gonna scream out as Deku does a turn. We know him leaping down the fire escape fast, and it doesn't pay attention to the noise Deku's making, since this prey is not doing anything. And currently Ochako does lay on the ground. Her clothes have been bitten into, but they protected her. They have bite-proof armor under these clothes, but even then, that thing bit through it. She can feel the blood pouring out of her shoulder, and she can also feel the slash on her stomach. Currently the thing can actually turn and leap onto the wall, its claws slicing into the concrete as Deku, he does actually bring his gun up, blasting into it as the creature to take 5 more bullets. And Deku, he's going to watch on. We know it's going to be resilient. And if it is actually going to climb onto the fire escape, Deku, he's going to bring his hand up, him blasting directly in the head as the creature to take the headshot. We know it falling backwards and smashing onto the dumpster. And Deku, he would have looked down. Currently the creature trying to get back up. But Deku, he's going to watch it. It currently does begin to move its legs. Its body going down on all fours, and it's going to jump up. Currently, it's going to turn and try and scurry away. And Deku does going to watch that. Currently, it with its tail between its legs. And that, it does unnerve Deku. We know him bring his hand down, checking his clip, and finding that he wasted 8 bullets on that thing. Him putting his magazine back in as his turn. We know him getting down the fire escape and currently going to bend down, grabbing onto Ochako and bringing his hand up. Him going to check and see if she's okay. However, her arm, it is bleeding. He can smell the blood. And there is where he doesn't see the slash on her torso. Him turning to her and asking her if she's okay, and she really thought coming out here alone was smart. And Deku, he wouldn't hear a sound. Him turning to Ochako and bringing his hand up. Or no, him going to actually tell her what to do. And Ochako, she's a bit confused. They sent that thing running. And Deku, he does understand. However, right now, they need to run. Her gonna sort nod. And Deku, he would turn, grabbing one of the smaller bags as Ochako does get a turn herself, understanding the situation. And Deku, he does actually turn to Ochako, her bolting off as Deku, he would do so as well. Run out the blood trail in the snow. And this creature, it is trying to regain its bearing. Right now, it's trying to shrug off the damage it's taken and head back inside. Currently, it running to the alleyway and going to actually walk up to the area. And as it bend down, sniffing into the blood. As it does gonna catch her scent. Its tongue gonna protrude from its mouth and licking into the snow, lapping up the red paste and going to look up. Currently, it with hunger. It's wounded. It's hungry. And it has a scent. And currently, it doesn't move fast. It is slowed down. Deku made sure of that. Ochako, she got a lucky shot on it. And currently, it is trying to keep chase. And there currently is Deku. Deku, he did get to throw off one of his jackets. A big, thick jacket that he knows is slowing him down. And Ochako kept hers on. Currently, Izuku going to try and tell her about what to do. The two running into a building as Ochako just to bring her hands up. Her going to actually throw down the bag for a second and bring down her jacket. Her going to do so as Deku, he would have watched her toss it to the ground and then going to turn picking up her bag. Deku walking over and going to run. Currently the creature going to run around and going to scream out. Currently it letting out a sound that is best akin to a screech. And this does mean quite a bit. Currently it running into the building as Deku and Ochako are making their way up the stairs. And there currently is Deku. He does get to do a few things. Currently, him letting Ochako run past him as he does go to hold up his weapon. Currently, him going to actually pull his magazine out and going to slide it into his belt. Him pulling his other magazine and going to actually put it inside. Him not pulling the slide back because there's already a bullet in the chamber. And Izuku is going to pull back the hammer. Now, Deku, he does actually have Ochako run past. Currently, her running through the building as a zombie is a come out. Currently, it trying to attack Ochako. As movements slowed and jagged, Ochako just going to turn and throw the zombie to the floor. However, the moment she's going to do so, she's going to turn back, bringing up her knife and going to stab it into its head. We're going to turn and slice open its stomach. And Deku, he does still going to stand there. Currently, him backing up and holding up his weapon. And Deku, he does goes on stand there waiting for this thing to come up. And there currently is, with the stairwell, it does have the sound of claws dragging on concrete. It's making its way up and staring at Deku. And Deku, he does stand there. Run out him holding up the weapon with one hand and holding a knife in the other. Him ready. If it's going to try and take him on, it is going to have trouble. He won't make it easy. He'll make sure this thing, it does get a pound of flesh, but he takes one with him. Now, Deku, he's a fire at it. Currently, him watching the bullet fly through the air and smash into its front right arm. It began to charge at Deku as a bring up its tail. Right now, it trying to slash out with its tail as Deku, he doesn't watch on. Currently, the tail flying towards him as he's actually thrown himself to the right. Right now, him dodging out of the way of it as he's a bring up his weapon, firing again towards the head. The thing taking another shot to the dome as it does, gonna slide forward onto the ground. And Deku, he'll go to step forwards. Him unloading 2 more bullets into the head as the creature is just going to shriek out in pain. And Deku, he'll go to bring his hand up. Right now, him throwing the knife down and smashing it onto the creature's head as his knife breaks. And Deku, he's alarmed. Currently, the creature letting out a sound as it would try and get back up. Currently, it staring up at Deku and trying to bite out his arm. And Deku, he actually has this thing bite directly into his left arm. Deku bringing his hand back and trying to punch it across the head. And this thing, it does not respond. Currently, it trying to actually hold on as Deku brings his gun up to its jaw and blast into it. It's going to actually have its jaw rip open as Deku, he actually has to pull his arm back. Him a lot more surprised. Now, Deku, he's going to turn to Ochako. And Ochako, we're going to stand. Her going to actually run over and stare down at the creature. Deku turning his head back to this thing. As he's going to do one simple thing. Currently, he's going to kick it over. And its body, it's hardened. It's really durable. It's fucking bulletproof. Deku bringing his gun down to the exposed part of its jaw and going to blast into it. Currently, the creature finally going to stop moving. And this, it does mean quite a bit. Currently, Ochako turning her head and staring at Deku. As Deku, his arm is somewhat bleeding. And this, it does alarm her. And Deku, he would turn looking at Ochako, bringing his hand down to her stomach, asking if she's okay. I'm fine. Your arm, it looks bad. I'm okay. I'm fine. We gotta go. We have to. They're hearing a sound. And this, isn't good. Currently, him watching something crawl out of the room, and it does a turn, and it's moving slowly. But Deku, he stares on, since it's moving. Deceiver. I'm gonna turn. Right now, him grabbing a Chaco as he's gonna run down the hallway. And Deku, he sees something else currently making its way out of a hallway. Him staring at that and looking at the situation. Right now, he does gonna find himself stuck between two monsters. And one of them, he knows he could deal with. Though, he's not sure. Okay. He has an idea. I'm gonna turn. Right now, I'm gonna grab Ochako and immediately throw himself out of a window. The two flying out and smashing down onto a dumpster. Deku actually landing onto it with his back as he's going to roll off of it. Renault and Chaco smashing onto the ground as the two do continue to roll. And Deku, he does actually lay there for a second. Renault him in the snow, a lot more alarmed. And Izuku, he does also sit there in a lot of pain. Him bringing his hand down and trying to sit back up. Okay. He's fine. Ochako, you okay? Ow. Her gonna try and move. And Deku, here's a turn to her. Currently her talking about it. As she does a sit up and look down at her leg. It's in a bit of pain. And Deku, here's her trying to get to his feet. Currently him feeling pain shoot up his back as he does going to actually get Ochako to her feet. And Ochako, she's limping. She probably no, she didn't tear anything, but sprained is a possibility. Oh, okay, no. He definitely bruised or pulled his back. Okay, but they're still alive. Him turning his head, and running the deceiver, it does just don't stand there, trying to move its way out of the window as it is slow, and trying to fight with the other creature to get out. These things want warm blood. And Deku, he's a turn. Him trying to help Ochako up to her feet. And when Ochako, she's gonna look down. Her seeing a path of blood leading away from Izuku. And when Deku, he gonna get her to her feet and pick her up. Him bringing his hand onto his radio and trying to talk about it. Tokage. Her running over and picking up her radio. What's up? What's happening? We got attacked by something. It's bulletproof. It was fucking bulletproof. Listen, I'm hurt. So Chaco. We ran down the road right and into a building. Map. Now, Deku, he sounds a bit hysterical. And Tokage, we're gonna do one thing. She would get a turn. Her getting up on her feet and running to the third floor. Bring her hand up and onto a map in the room. Her let's gonna express about which street they may have gone to. And Izuku, he would give her the information. Him walking out the alleyway and currently limping a bit. Ochako to his left as he has a turn. Him looking around to see if the area is familiar. And currently, he doesn't move fast. The deceiver is not too far behind, neither is that other monster. The moment one of them gets to that window, the other could follow. And that thing was slow. But if it thaws out, for the love of God, if it thaws out, they're going to be caught. In Tokage, she would have tried to give them some information. And after Deku is going to try and find out where he is, he has a good idea as to where to head to. But Tokage just to keep him talking, ask him questions. And Deku, he sounds confused, disoriented, and doesn't know where he's going. And Tokage, she can understand what's happening. They ditched their gear to run. They ditched their warm clothes. And that, it does concern her. Reno her to ask Deku questions, understand the situation, And whenever she does hear information about them being not too far away, 2 blocks, she would turn. Right now, her going to run downstairs and turn on the hot water. Her trying to get things heated up for them right now. It'll take time, but more so, they need help. And currently, Tokage will get suited up. Her putting on some of her shoes and then going to actually run over, grabbing 2 jackets and going to run outside. Now, currently, Tokage moves everything out of the way of the door and moves fast. Her bolting down the street and going to turn, and seeing Deku and Ochako currently walking her way. In this, it does concern her. Right now, her running over there and seeing the two. And the moment she's actually throw a jacket around Ochako, she's going to stare at Deku. And Deku, he's a turn to her. Him, confused in talking about it. Hysterical. And she's going to turn, looking at the trail of blood behind the two. And it, oh god. Okay. Her bring her hand down and grabbing onto Deku's arm. Seeing the injury and trying to tell them what to do. Right now the three heading back to base. And Tokage, she does try to get the two warmed back up. She tries to start a fire and do what she can. But right now she needs to tend to their wounds and get them in some dry clothes. Now, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed and have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part.